Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawkes here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. We have another ex-Hammer interview today. A very special one. Made over 234 first-team appearances, scored 30 goals across a 7-year first-team spell at the club. And more importantly, when I told my dad I was interviewing this man, he went, "Oh, silky player." And that's a man who played with Trevor Brooking, brother, for the Metropolitan Police team. We've got Mr. Alan Dickens. How are we doing, Al?
Russell, all good, mate. Yeah, all good this side. Very good.
Good this side. I know this is all a bit weird doing it online and stuff, but It's the modern world now, unfortunately, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm very new to this. I think this is only maybe the second time I've done this kind of thing. So my son has just set it up for me. So I'm just going to sit here. Just going to sit here and
we're just going to sit here and chat. That's all. That's all it is. It's like two blokes. It's like two blokes in a pub, but it's just virtually. Unfortunately, it's the way the world is. How have we been now? How have we been? You and the family all well?
Yeah, all good. Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm a cab driver, so the last 18 months has been pretty bad for us.
Yeah.
But, it's picking up though. It's picking up last two or 3 months. It's been quite good. So a bit optimistic for the future. Yeah, the family's good, all doing well.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, we did like I hate the expression, but we did like a staycation about a month ago up in London. Like they had a really good deal in a hotel, and obviously we're getting in cabs everywhere. And the cabbies are, thank God for you, for British tourists, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very grateful. We're very grateful for the British tourists.
But with the offices going back now, particularly in the central London, I know like Thursdays and Fridays, it seems to be at the moment. As you said, things are starting to pick up. So hopefully it'll be good, man. It'll be good. Yeah, but West Ham have kept us busy. They've kept us entertained.
What a fantastic 18 months. I've sat there and watched every game in the lockdown, and what a good side. What a fantastic team. I've been blown away by how good they've been, and I've sat there waiting for them to mess up. Like a typical West Ham team, you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, we'll struggle next week," but it's been so consistent.
Yeah, and, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's scary. And I've watched every game so far this year, and we've just continued. And if anything, yeah, exactly, fantastic.
If anything, I think we look a bit stronger than I think we did last season.
Yeah, I just see the new signings that we've got. Fantastic signings. Was it the Croatian strike? I don't know much about the players, but I'm sure they've done their homework and bought well, in the areas where we need it as well. So
exactly, yeah.
Normally we buy and we think, did we need that buy? But I think what they've done is could be quite exciting.
Definitely, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think we've got a third of the starting lineup of the Czech Republic team tonight.
That ain't a bad thing. No, they're good players, and they're so honest. They work hard. There's no airs of graces and that. They play the game properly, and very good professional players, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And also, obviously now the fans are going back, and also, for you guys, as I said, we saw each other the other day at the Rusk, and with Ian Morgan's thing. That was great. You can start doing those nights again, isn't it? Seeing some fans and talking about the old days.
Yeah, no, that was a good night actually. To see a few old players there talking a load of nonsense sometimes. But it was a good night. It's good. I hadn't seen Steve Walford for a long time, so it was nice to see him. I bumped into Tony and George occasionally, and Elvin. I see him occasionally, but they're always good nights then. And I think the fans enjoy it. To see a few old stories and a few of the older players. So it's.
But we were saying the other day, we were chatting, it's like some of the stuff you talk about those nights, you never probably spoke about in the dressing. Like we spoke about money, didn't we? That was one of the things. And it was something that you never spoke about now.
That was a real eye-opener for me, because my wages were pretty low. So I was a little bit embarrassed, and I didn't really want to mention it, but I think the lads weren't earning more than me either. So I was quite pleased when I come home after that night. I thought I wasn't doing too bad. Because the money was really low. I was really, especially Alvin.
Yeah,
England international, and I don't think he got a signing on fee, which in like 20 years, which is pretty bad, really. But that's the way it was. So
it was the way it was.
I think we're just grateful to play for West Ham, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
give you a tenner. Then
yeah,
just okay, John. You're the boss. We'll just crack on.
If only that was the case now. Poor Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, yeah, he's on £500,000 a week, but the government takes half of that.
Do they? Well, that's good. That's good though.
How can he survive? 250 grand a week.
Well, it's tough.
You have to shop at Aldi.
It's a tough life.
I know. But yeah, but obviously, go on, you can, man.
He's got the number 7 shirt at Man United, Ronaldo, wasn't he? I think
yeah.
They're giving him the number 7 shirt. So I don't think Cavani will be very happy.
No.
Real angry or not, I don't know. But,
yeah, he's. I remember in the early 90s when we signed Paolo Futre and he wanted the number 10 shirt. Do you remember? And John Moncur.
Did John give him his shirt, or did he have to?
He gave John John gave him his shirt. I think he stormed out. I think they played Arsenal away, and he stormed out because he was like Futre not 16, Futre 10. Yeah. And I think they did a deal for. I think it was a fortnight away in his villa in Portugal.
Oh, I'm sure John would have been pleased with that. Bit of golf, maybe.
Bit of golf, that's what I mean. Yeah, bit of golf. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Monk's in his golf. Oh, he loves his golf. So let's go back and talk about the good old days, so to speak, and obviously, Plasto boy. Oh, sorry, my Siri keeps talking to me. Plasto boy, and was it from the under 11s you started training with West Ham, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was. The way it used to work then was you played for your school team, then you got in your district team, which was mine was Newham.
Yeah,
and we would play over Macmillan Stadium Saturday mornings or a few night games, and that's where all the scouts would go and watch, and there'd always be West Ham scouts there.
Yeah,
and that's where most of the lads got picked up, was playing for the district team. So I would have been under 10s, under 11s when I was asked to go and train at West Ham. So it was fantastic for me to go and do that. So,
Was it
I think a lot of the lads in our team would have gone and done the same thing. 4 or 5 of the players, all kind of decent players. If you're playing for your district, you're not bad. So so it was a few of us would have gone along.
Yeah. And I know you went. And I remember I read somewhere that you spent your summers at Man United occasionally. Was that right?
Yeah, that's when I got to about under 14s, under 15s. The guy called Malcolm Fidgin. He kind of seen me playing for my district. I played against Harlow. I think he was a teacher from Harlow.
Yeah. And
he said he seen me play, didn't do bad, and he said he had to watch me play for my county before he could, ask me to go to Manchester United. And I think I played for Essex, did all right, and then he asked me to go to Man United, and I did that for about 18 months. I would go in the summer, Christmas, like Easter, and just spend a week. 10 days up in the Halls of Residence in Salford.
Wow.
And I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I was always going to sign for West Ham, which I did, I think under 15s, under 16s, I stopped down to Man United and went to West Ham. But I really, really enjoyed it there. Yeah. For some reason, I'm a bit of a home bird. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And they were really nice. But they did ask to sign me, would have got like a 2-year AP and a 1st-year pro, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was always gonna sign for West Ham.
Always gonna sign for West Ham. Obviously you signed. I mean, you signed schoolboys, didn't you? Then you was part of the FA Youth Cup winning side as well, wasn't it? Obviously, we won the FA, the big one, the season before. Then 80-81, you lifted it as well. Only the second time we won it once more since then, but still, we hadn't won it for 30 odd years or something like that, the FA Youth Cup. So that was a great achievement for your team particularly.
We had a really good side. We had Paul Allen was involved, who'd already won the FA Cup. He'd had an FA Cup winners medal before he played in the FA Youth Cup final, which is crazy.
Mental.
Bobby Barnes played in the first team. We had like 5 or 6 players who had all played in the first team.
Yeah.
So we had a strong team. We beat Spurs in the final, which was...
That's not a bad thing, was it?
Not bad.
Not a bad thing.
We'll settle for that.
Yeah, exactly. We like a bit of that. We like a bit, and it's funny, isn't it? I know we're jumping the gun a little bit. Obviously, when you made your home debut, that was against Spurs, wasn't it?
No,
And
oh yes, sorry, yes, it was.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
away day you scored against
Yeah,
County, wasn't it? Away, and
yeah,
but we lost that one. But the home one was against Spurs at home, and
yeah.
and it's all there's always a TC. His home debut was against Spurs, and there's a lot of people who seems their main debuts are against Tottenham. Even like it's all modern day, so to speak. With John Hartson scored on his debut against
Okay.
Tottenham.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just gets them in, doesn't it? It just gets that first
yeah.
game in against the old enemy.
Yeah, I think we that was New Year's Day, the Spurs one, and I
Yeah,
roomed with Tony the night before. Neither
yeah,
of us knew we were playing, so
yeah.
we just had a bit of a laugh that night, watching a bit of telly, and then John called us in about 2 o'clock, like an hour before the kickoff, and said like, "You're both playing," and I thought, "Oh, okay." So 30 odd thousand at Upton Park. I think it was on the telly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't have time to get nervous, So it was a master stroke from John, really. And then Tony scored after about 10 minutes, I think 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
A great team performance and won 3-0.
That's amazing,
So,
isn't it, when you think about that. When you think about, it's two guys making their home debut, your home debut against Spurs, a buzzing Upton Park, lots of, but by still of an hour to go, you haven't got time to get nervous. You're getting yourself ready, aren't you, for the game?
Didn't even know we were playing. And
That's
like playing
amazing.
against like one of my favourite players was Glenn Hoddle at the time.
Sure.
And Glenn was playing for Spurs.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, it was. He played very well that day. I remember he was outstanding. You try to get close to him was difficult, but that was that was a great day.
And I think Alan, you epitomise. I mean, we talk about the Academy of Football, but we've only spoken about from in essence under 11s all the way up to the first team. That's the epitome the epitome of the Academy of Football. And I mean, was there ever a time when you were going through that period that you thought, am I going to get into the first team, or have I made the right decision here?
Yeah, I don't really think you would used to think about the first team at that age at all. Even like these days, the academy is so full on.
Yeah,
like we would train on we're under 11s, 12s, 13s. We would train on a Tuesday, Thursday night, and we would train in the car park outside Upton Park. Maybe hour and a half. Everything was done with a ball. There was no tactics. There was nothing. And when it rained, we went under the stand and put 2 crates up, and they were the goals. So it was no magic at all.
Yeah.
But everyone enjoyed it, and it wasn't like you had to be there. If I had a basketball match or a cricket match, I would miss that night's training and go the following week. So football was very, very enjoyable. You still play for your school team, your district team, and looking back, they were my favourite days. Meeting the lads at the top of the road, all walk to the park and have a game of football. But when you do play for West Ham on the school holidays, it's very serious. It does become very serious. But it is a shame that a lot of the players do miss out on the school football, district football, because like West Ham take players at under 9s and they're not allowed to do that, which I think is a real shame. I think a lot of nice things are taken away, because not only that, you can get in West Ham's team at under 9s and they can let you go at under 12s.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
A bit heartbroken, and you do miss out on a lot of nice things.
Wasn't it? I think I interviewed Tony Carr. He said something like they couldn't have an under 14s team or it's 15s onward. So they got Newham Boys, wasn't it? And they took over Newham Boys, and his first year was he had Curbs and Paul Brush. And obviously they went into the first team, so they always have to find a way to get into the system. But you're right, now it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's like
that's the way football is now. They take kids under 7s, don't they? And under 8s, under 9s. Is it a good thing? We are still producing very good footballers. So, but there's a lot of heartache there for the one. There's so many players that don't make it.
Yeah,
and they do get left by the wayside. which is a bit of a shame.
But I think it's just that I've spoken. Obviously, I've interviewed lots of ex-players, and I think there's a real sense of, football has changed. The money has changed football to make it more commoditized and things like that. So, for example, I mean, a case in point, when we met the other day, that was great, and there was a camaraderie still in the, there was a 6 of you on stage, and it was like being a part of the dressing room, the way you were bantering off each other, everyone's taking the mick out of each other. Now, forward 20 years time, I don't think I'm going to go to the Rusk or the Queens and see an evening with Sebastian Haller and Felipe Anderson. Do you know what I mean? You don't get that association with your club and your players anymore now. And I think that's a real shame for fans now, like the younger generation, because 20 years time, God forbid, 30 years time, we'll still be going to see you guys talking about the same stories. Really, but
I think the fans do feel less part of it. I think.
Yes, yeah. That makes sense, though.
I think you're kind of a long way from, like, they're so far away from reality.
Yeah,
but like we used to train at Chapel Heath, and we would have busloads of kids come during the school holidays. Yeah. Kind of, not charging around all over the place, but when we'd finish training, it would take maybe half an hour to get back into the changing room. All the kids, and that used to really enjoy it. But these days, I think to get an autograph, I'm not sure, but the lads have to wait outside the gates, and the players come out under their window, maybe sign. I'm sure all lovely blokes and all that, but that's the fans.
It's just different now, isn't it? It's just different, I think.
That's right. It is different.
It's a shame, because for me, as a youngster, I've said it, I've spoken about it lots of times, but the most exciting thing for me as a 10-year-old kid or 11-year-old or whatever was walking down Loughton, where I used to live, because everyone used to live in Loughton, all the Spurs and West Ham lot, and you'd bump into Paul Kitson or Shaka Hislop or someone like that, and that made my week. Do you know what I mean? I used to work at Safeways, and Shaka used to do his big shop on a Friday night if they were playing at home, and I'd always work that shift just to see him. And but now, fair play to them. They're amazing the game, and they live in, Canary Wharf and places like that. Yeah. Fair enough. You don't see him down the Co-op anymore, getting a pint of milk.
I'll pick Fabregas up in the cab. So they do jump in cabs as well. I think I'll take the Wakes in the King's Road, though. A little bit
King's Road. There you go. Yeah.
Different than that,
yeah, not Brick Lane getting a bagel. No, he was no. Are you a bagel fan? Are you a bagel bake fan of Brick Lane?
Do you know what? I do get them. A friend of mine around the corner gets me them for Christmas. He has he's a black cab driver. He goes up to Brick Lane, gets maybe about 24 bagels, and we have them over Christmas. Lovely.
That's my one vice. I do like a salt beef bagel. Yeah. We digress, as we always do. Right. And obviously, throughout your first team years, basically, as I said, 234 appearances, lots of games. And I mean, the first seat, as you said, you scored in your home on your proper debut, which was amazing. And obviously that season you scored, I think it's 5 in 12 or something. That's really good. Yeah. And obviously by then you were wearing the number 10 shirt.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, Trevor was kind of, he was injured. He was injured, Trevor, wasn't he, for a while?
He was, yeah.
And the team, we had loads of injuries. There might have been 10 injuries, and I was doing quite well in scoring goals in the youth team. So was asked to go and play at Notts County. So, which was great for me. I think all my family went. We had everyone went. So, but that little story there, there was. As they were driving up to Notts County, they got stuck in loads of traffic, and I scored after 6 minutes.
Oh no!
So they didn't see it. They were sitting in the traffic on the way up to Notts County. So that was a shame. But that was a great day for me. We won 2-1. Really enjoyed it. I remember coming home, and I think I might have got the bus home from Upton Park or something like that, and. Just standing in my street, just looking around and thinking, like, did that really happen? Or, am I just going to play for West Ham at Notts County? It was pretty weird.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't kind of realise that it happened, and maybe till I read the papers the next day, I thought, was that me doing that?
Yeah.
It was pretty strange.
Yeah, and I suppose it's been from in essence from the age of like 11, being in that club, and then sort of now you've reached the pinnacle, so to speak, in terms of making the first team debut.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of kids, a lot of your teenagers come and go, and you're there, and it must be like it's a hell of a journey to work your way through there. And I can imagine you'd be like literally a bit, a bit.
Because I was a fan. I went to watch games.
Of course.
I can remember. I think the most famous game that I really remember most was a semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup. I think it was '76 against Eintracht Frankfurt. I'm sure
everyone's been to that. I think there's about 300 capacity.
I think I was 11 or 12, and me and my mate was standing in the East stand.
Love it.
I think Keith Robson got one, didn't he? Trevor got two.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that game. So for me to play for that team just didn't make sense, really.
No, yeah. And also, and we said obviously we did mention, the number 10 shirt, and obviously, was there, because obviously people made parallels, is the next one. Did that sort of play in your mind?
Not at all. Not right up, and only. No one ever used. I didn't used to take any notice of that at all.
Yeah.
And then I think after I did make my debut, there was a big fuss made about that. Me and Trevor just played in the same position. Really, I wasn't quick. Maybe they, maybe that was it. I don't know what, but people jumped on that a little bit. At the time, I didn't really take any notice, and in fact, you couldn't be more flattered to be compared to Trevor.
Of course,
Trevor is an absolute world-class footballer. So to be compared, I thought, wow, this is nice for me. But then as time went on, he's never going to be as good as Trevor. So it did become it does make things a little bit more difficult. Yeah,
that makes sense. I understand.
People's expectations maybe were a little bit too high. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think they made parallels, wasn't there? It was clear parallels. It's the same position, maybe same style in terms of it's not necessarily pace-driven game. Yeah, similar, So you understand that, But I mean, as I said, over 234 appearances, and obviously, most notably, obviously, the season. I thought last season we might have just equaled it, or maybe even a clip, but we couldn't. Still can't do that 85-86 season.
Well, the problem is, like West Ham have got a fantastic team. Yeah, you've got Man United are signing everybody. Man City, Chelsea. For West Ham to finish third, you'd be like a small miracle, really.
It would have been
the amount of money and the amount of players they've got.
Yeah,
West Ham are a fantastic team, but whether you're going to get in front of those three is a
not
big
this
ask.
season. No,
I think
last season we had a chance.
You never know. Leicester did it, I suppose, but we can always hope that could happen again.
We can hope. But obviously, that season, the boys of '86. I think you missed one game that whole season.
Yeah, I think I got concussed against. We played against Arsenal.
Yeah,
and I caught my head on John Lukic's knee.
Jesus.
and I was completely out, and I couldn't remember the game or anything, for days after, and I was really ill for about a week. I've been sick, so I missed the Aston Villa game.
Yeah,
and West Ham did really well that game, and when I got back to train, I thought, oh, that's me done for a while. I won't get back in the team again, for a little while. But luckily, John put me straight back, so I was really grateful for that. And I think we won one with Ipswich, something like that.
And what was it about that team? Because we all talk about it. Why was it that season such a good season for us? What we had Neil Orr on the other day, and he made some suggestions about why he thought that season was so good. But from your perspective, why did it work?
Well, we had such a bad pre. Can I go back to that? We had such a bad
of course you can.
We lost our last pre-season game was against Leyton Orient. And we lost 2-0 at Leyton Orient, and the fans were knocking on the changing room door to get to the players. So it was that bad. And then like John signed Waldy and Frank during that week, and those two made an unbelievable difference. But even our first 7 games, we only won 1 game.
Yeah.
1 game in the first 7. And then I think we drew at Sheffield Wednesday. I think Newell scored, which was 2-2. And then we just got on a little bit of a run. And once you start winning and drawing games, you just get more confident.
Sure.
And then, you know, we had a good. I think even at the beginning we had a meeting. The team wasn't working hard enough. The lads and that were a few words were said. We needed to do things differently, and we just got on a run. Bit of confidence. You know, we had very, very good players as well.
Yeah.
And we just went on and just took off really.
Yeah.
So I would say like Mordy and Frank definitely made a big difference. They brought that something to the team that we needed, like a bit of aggression, will to win. You know, they had something about them, the two of them, and they kind of dragged us along.
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, so there was lots of different things, but no injuries. We had a constant team all the way through. And then we just played nice football, and we just got on a run, and we just won lots of games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think also now, because I think, if you look at the fixtures coming out now for the current West Ham team, obviously we're going to be playing, pretty much, once every couple of days. And obviously towards the end of the 85-86 season, because of the weather and stuff, you guys were doing the same thing. And obviously, go on, Cameron.
No, I was going to say about the pitches.
Yeah,
the pitches were so bad as well. But I watched that big match we visited.
Yes.
From the teams in the 70s.
Yeah.
And wow, the pitches were absolutely atrocious. And West Ham in the 70s, I watched that quite a lot. And what a good team West Ham were in the 70s. You forget. And they make the pitch look as if it's like a lovely grass. They pop it around. I've quite enjoyed that big match we visited.
It's really good, isn't it? It's really good.
We were a good side.
But I mean, but you look at, I remember when I spoke to Frank a while ago, we talked about the pitches and stuff, and he was like, yeah, but he said, because obviously, I was only about 5 at the time. So wow. Unfortunately, I don't look it. I know I don't look it. Moisturize. You got to moisturize. That's the key. But yeah, so he said, I'll go back and watch, because obviously, I'll go back and watch a lot of footage because there was nothing on the telly. And so I went back and watched like the Stamford Bridge game when we were on 4-0. And it wasn't a pitch, it was a beach. It was like Southend, weren't it? Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, Chelsea's pitch used to be a bad pitch.
Shocking.
And also Old Trafford. Old Trafford was always very muddy. I would say the best 2 pitches was always Everton and Liverpool.
Wow.
Always had it nice and flat, and because both teams really wanted to pass the ball. So I think they those 2 grounds were always nice to play football on.
Yeah, but I think with that, obviously, you said that 85, 86, and then obviously, from then on, you had, Frank was then sold. I mean, 88, was it 87, 88? You played up front with COYI for quite a few as a partner before Leroy came in.
Yeah, before Leroy came, that's right. But we should have signed somebody. So I kind of played a little bit further forward.
Yeah.
Then I used to kind of break from midfield rather than kind of stay up the pitch a little bit more. Yeah. And the team was struggling a little bit. So that was difficult. And then when Leroy came, he scored a few goals and did well for us, Leroy.
He did. Yeah.
So he did well for West Ham coming from Fulham. But
I think they signed when we had him. He said I think he signed on the Friday and he was starting on Saturday.
Well, I can't remember his first game. I'm sure. Did he score in his first game?
I think he did. And I think it was his home debut. I think literally it was on the Friday. I think they signed him on the Friday, and on the Saturday, he walked in and he was number 9. And it's like, okay, all right, yeah. But
we were desperate for someone who was quick and a bit pacey, and he'd give us that strong. He was a welcome relief really to get Leroy at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
He did well for us.
Yeah. And then obviously, then towards the end, obviously, then we got relegated, and then you went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't talk about that much because we spoke. I heard you, someone asked you a question about that move, and you were like, "Well, hindsight's a great thing," and that type of thing.
Yeah, it was strange, really. Like because the manager had gone.
Yeah,
John had gone. I think Lou Macari was coming in. My contract was up. I wasn't sure whether West Ham wanted me to stay. I didn't know anything. I was just, I'm sure if West Ham would have said that the new manager would have got in touch or anything, I didn't know what was going on. And then the Chelsea manager rang me so many times during the summer.
Yeah.
And then I went to meet him, and it just escalated, and I just ended up signing. And it just happened.
Yeah.
I do feel, a bit bad, because leaving when West Ham did go down, it's never nice.
Sure.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
It just, I do feel bad about that, but it's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, and it is, isn't it? It's life, isn't it? In football, and I mean, in a twist of fate, obviously, Mr. Lyle was on the tribunal panel, which got us 635 grand for you. So
at least Sam got a few quid for me. I didn't cost any money. So that wasn't. I think West Ham wanted 8. I think I don't know what they wanted 8. West Ham, they were trying.
Yeah.
Chelsea offered 4. So I went to a tribunal up at Villa Park.
Yeah.
Well, I think who went in first? Chelsea go in, then West Ham, and then I went in. And they said to me, "How much do you think you're worth?" I said, "Well, I don't know."
Wow.
What am I supposed to say? But it was a lot of money I thought. But at least West Ham got 600 grand anyway.
Exactly, and there was no transfer fee. As you said, you came from the under 11s, so it's it's
much money. So
didn't cost them much. But you mentioned John in passing. Obviously, we've spoken to lots of players who played under John, and obviously a phenomenal man, a phenomenal manager, and as you said, arguably the catalyst, which probably him leaving, meant you left, so to speak. Just showed you that how great the man was.
I'm sure if John was there when he offered me a contract, I would have signed, without a doubt. But John had gone, and things were changing.
Yeah.
John was the manager when I first went to West Ham at 11. Like John was he was the first team manager, and even when we were kids, he was always about.
Wow.
on the weeks where we were training during the summer, Easter, John Lyle was always there with Eddie Bailey, his chief scout. They were always very, very interested in the kids' football. Yeah. Very interested. Looked after the parents. I think that's why West Ham have always been successful bringing kids through at that stage because of John and the work that he did behind the scenes.
Yeah. I think. No, carry on, man. So I was, you sort of were going to say something, and then the brain goes blank.
No, he was very good at that, and got a lot of respect from the parents, and the young players always felt as if they had a chance. John would give you a chance if you felt as if you was good enough. Yeah,
made perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we had who did we have on the other day? When I spoke we had Stuart Slater on the other day, and he said, from the age of about, I think it was the age of about 13 or whatever, or 12, 13, maybe 14. He had Tonka went to every one of his Sunday League games to watch. He was like, and nuts, he was like, my head was blown. I had this like first teamer for West Ham watching me. And it just showed how good our sort of youth academy was.
Even on a Saturday morning where we played our youth team games, like under 17s, under 18s, John would be there till half time. We would kick off at 11, and John would be watching, and then he would have to go and do a first team game if West Ham were at home. So he would maybe get to Upton Park for 1 o'clock and prepare his team for Man United, whoever it was. But he would come and watch the youth team play on a Saturday morning.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, and I think all the players really appreciate it. They made you play well if your manager's watching you. You want the manager.
Totally. It totally makes sense.
You're doing all right. So it was good that he stood and watched us.
Yeah. It makes I remember we interviewed Harry, and Harry's because obviously Ron Green was Harry was obviously with him, and he learnt a lot from Ron, because he would make all the first teamers go and do the training with the kids and stuff like that as well. So it was all about youth, and obviously John kept that going in terms of making the youth team. And then Harry, when he was in charge, obviously when he was in charge, we won the FA Youth Cup as well. You know, with Tony Carr and Joe Cole and Carrick and all these great players in the team. And it's the way, but that's what West Ham love, isn't it? West Ham fans, we love a West Ham boy coming through.
Yeah, I am really, really interested. In a way, I would rather go and watch West Ham's youth team and the under-23s than the first team.
Yeah,
for some reason. I really enjoy that. And like what with Potsy's doing the 23s with some I don't know the guy's name, and Kevin Keane is doing the 18s. So the youth, the young players are in very good hands there. I think. I know the results in the youth cups haven't been great over recent years, but those lads haven't been about. So hopefully, I think the teams will improve and we'll get some. I spoke to Kevin the other day, and he said there's a couple of lads in there who he expects really good things from. Who could progress to West Ham's first team in a few years' time. So look out. There's a few names there. I can't remember the names. He was really impressed with some of the players. Yeah, no,
there's some really good ones, and the under-23s, they've got some good ones. I watched them the other day, turn over Arsenal 6-1, and the back three were all brilliant.
Yeah, no, I think the West Ham fans like that. They've always liked that, seeing some kids from local, break into their team, and which is what West Ham have always been about.
Yeah, it is what we and actually. Sort of going full circle back to the current regime of managers. Obviously, I've been doing West Ham I've been working there for this my 21st season. I get less for murder, to be honest, Alan, but my 21st season. And David Moyes is the only manager I've seen who's at the 23 games. Or if it's not him, it's Alan Irvine or someone else. So there's a bit going back to the old school there. Do you know what I mean? In terms of investing in the youth and looking at the youth. And
he's done a great job, David Moyes. It's a fantastic job. And he seems a little bit like the old school. I think he's done great. And I think Kevin said there's a little bit of a relationship there as well. Which is the way it should be anyway. Your manager needs to know how the under-23s are doing, the 18s, because you never know. There might be one in there that can break into the team.
Very much so.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't Sam Allardyce, didn't he look after or was he not into that?
I think. I mean, Sam had. I mean, in my opinion, Sam had a job to do, and he did it. He got us back into the Premier League and became a really hard team to beat in the Premier League, arguably. But it was mainly based on sort of the old guard, wasn't it? He went and got he got Kevin Nolan in. Obviously, he's doing a great job with the coaching staff now. Matty Taylor and Abdoulaye. He bought loads of Jussi Jääskeläinen in goal and slightly older. Zola was probably a bit more around the sort of the kids a little bit. He wasn't here long enough to. Yeah. But obviously, Colton. He made his debut under Colton. Right, I've got some questions, Alan. Then we're going to talk about your Hammers 11. But I've got some questions from some of our members, and I'll make sure they're nice. Right, okay. They're all lovely anyway. So the first one is from Connor. Favorite team you used to play against when you're playing against a team? I like them. I like playing against them.
I think the big games, like when you was playing Liverpool, Man United, you used to get very, very excited. You'd always. I think even West Ham in those games would always play well because all the players were really up for it. This is a massive game. But for some reason, we would always do well against teams like Coventry and Watford. For some home or away, I don't think we ever lost. So I would say, I think Tony Cotter used to love against Coventry. I think he used to score 2 goals a game. So I'm going to go for Coventry. Nice. They haven't been in our league for a long time.
No, I do remember.
We were always successful at Highfield Road. I don't know what it was. But always
just had their number. I remember Richard Shaw, who was a centre back for Coventry, scored an absolute banger of an own goal at Upton Park once, like a diving header. It was brilliant.
It's an omen.
It's an omen. It's always Coventry. Right, okay. From Rich, best player you've ever played against? I think it's probably going to be Glenn Hoddle, but who's the best player you've ever played against?
Well, I would say that there was two, like Glenn Hoddle,
Yeah.
as I said earlier, technically fantastic, and also
Yeah.
Brian Robson, Man United. Wow. I remember playing at Old Trafford. I think it was a night game, so Old Trafford, 50,000. They used to bomb forward, unbelievable. And I remember Brian Robson, so I'm playing around him, and I've got to try and stop him from playing a little bit. And he was for 10. Well, I could not get nowhere near him.
Brilliant.
And I think he had like 3 attempts at goal, and wow, he was all over the place. I remember he kind of got it out his feet and he pinged it out to Jesper Olsen. I'm sure that old remember Jesper Olsen, and then he's kind of sprinted into the box, and I'm having to go with him. And he was an awesome player. Technically as well, he used to work hard, but he was a top class player, Brian Robson.
Yeah, amazing. Right. Good question from Tom coming up. How would Alan play in today's West Ham team? Oh,
yes, because the game. Because I've done a lot of coaching with the I take Barking's under 23s, which is just around the corner. I do the college team locally. I do like the under 18s. I help those, and the game has changed. Unbelievable.
Sure,
unbelievable the way it's changed, and even in recent years, it's changed again. So as a coach and like watching things, it's difficult to know where. I sometimes think that where would I play? I could not go wide. Couldn't go wide. The only place I could, because I was always like maybe a midfield player going forward.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of maybe. I think if I was coached properly, I could maybe sit in front of the back four.
Nice.
Or just I like West Ham play 2 holding midfield players.
Yeah.
And maybe like getting forward a little bit, sitting in defence. So I think I would have to be one of those two.
Nice.
Just sitting there and getting on the ball and trying to pass it. And I think for the midfield players, it hasn't really changed that much, I would say, for the 2 midfield players. Like even there, when you talk about Trevor Brooking, where would Trevor Brooking play in West Ham's team? You've got Declan and Souček, and then you've got the 3 fast ones, and then Tony. So where does Trevor go?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where Trevor went, because like Souček and Rice work really hard, tackle, cover all the ground to allow the 3 fast ones. But where does Trevor go?
Yeah.
Football is complete. Those players, maybe Trevor would have to come and sit in. Like Trevor couldn't sit in front of the back four, could he?
I think he'd have to. I think it's. Yeah, I don't think he'd fit in. It's amazing to think.
Even Alan Devonshire, where would Alan Dev play? In West Ham?
Pre-injury,
Dev played,
Dev
got it to feet, and while those front, they're all over the place, like interchanging and going everywhere. You don't know where they're going to run up. Well, Dev would stay out on the left, and you get it out to Dev, and he would do his stuff. That's it's difficult to, not just me. Where would Trevor go? Where would Dev go? Only Connor would be right.
And in the flip side, Toby asks, how do you? Could you ask Alan how he thinks Antonio would have fared as a centre forward in your playing era?
No, he would do really well. Yeah. I think he would do really well because he's very honest. He scores goals. He's been unbelievable. He would be, he would do. I think he'd do very well.
Yeah,
especially he started a few years ago. He was at right back.
Well, to be honest, 3 seasons ago, he was nowhere near the top of the goal scoring charts at all at West Ham, and he's back to back 10 goal a season, and now he's best top.
It's amazing what he's done.
Yeah,
he's playing for Jamaica, isn't he?
He's off there now. Yeah.
Yeah, because he would be knocking on the door of the England squad if he got picked. I don't think no one could really say what they picked him for. He definitely has done well enough to be looked at. He would definitely fit in. He would fit in because he's so versatile as well. And I think whatever you asked him to do, I think he would do a good job.
And I think particularly if we look back at the 85, 86, I mean, I was speaking to Tonka the other day, and he was saying, that John you know, I mean, I think Ray was obviously right back, but he played some games centre back. He played left back. I think he played centre midfield like a couple of games. But whatever position he was going to play, John was going to made him feel like he was the best left back in the world, and he was full of confidence. And I think that was the same with Antonio. He's so versatile that he'll have a go at any position you play with him. And there's something old school about him as well because he's come through non-league all the way up.
Yeah,
you can
kind of see that about him sometimes because you can see lads who have been coached, sometimes overcoached, some of the players, the younger ones. But he does things you think, oh my God, how's he done that? He's surrounded by 2 or 3 players, and he ends up coming out with the ball when he's running at the goal. You think, how's he done that?
I know. It's crazy.
No,
he's crazy.
He's good to watch. Very exciting.
He is. He's exciting to watch. We like that.
No, even the goal. What was the goal of the weekend? He did always, didn't he? And like had a touch and squared it, and it's like watching Barcelona play, wasn't it?
It was ticky-tacky football. We didn't know what to expect.
And then all of a sudden the ball goes over the top. He jumps up with a centre back. It falls to him, and he smashes it in the goal.
I know, yeah.
So he can mix it up. He's
so unpredictable. That's why I love him. He's so unpredictable. Just gets you excited. Right, we haven't got a question, but Adam from Redbridge says hello. There we go. Good old skipper. Oh, Adam. Yeah, I like Adam. Right, last question. And then we'll talk about your 11. From Clive, who was the toughest player? Who would have marked him? Who's the toughest defender you came up against, basically?
I didn't really come up against the defenders. I remember a really, really difficult game was against Wimbledon, like the crazy game. That was a very, very intimidating game. And we were playing at Upton Park. It was Fashanu, Jones, Wisey.
Wow.
And they were very, very intimidating. And I remember standing there marking Fashion. Well, I think I used to do the near post.
Yeah.
So if it comes short, I have to do the ball, And so and Fashanu has just walked past me and he's elbowed me right in the face. And I kind of like, my tongue was kind of hanging off a little bit. And I've gone over to the ref, like a bit of a baby made. Ref, look at he's done.
Yeah.
And I think Vinnie Jones might have said, you'll get more of that during the game. And I found that we lost 3-1 that day. Yeah. And I think a lot of it, we tried to be a little bit like them. And we just weren't good at that. But when I think we went away from home and we played them off the park. And John said, you can't get involved in that. You just play your football. And we did really well. But I remember that was a really difficult game that day. It was I've never seen that before. I've never seen.
Well, it was always Fashanu was always the he was sort of the referee's friend and the referee. No, not at all. No, because Fashanu said it before. I remember watching something he mentioned, and he'd say the ref would come up and say, "John, can you just tell him to calm down, please?" And he'll go, "Yeah, of course I will, ref." And he'll turn around and he'll say, "Keep going, keep it going, keep." That's what he would do. He was sort of like this. Sort of secret squirrel type thing. He was just as bad as the most of them. But
they were very successful at them.
Yeah, it worked for him.
But not only that, they were good players.
Yeah,
but they did intimidate. You could definitely get intimidated by those lads.
Yeah, we had. We had. I think we had. Who did we have? We didn't even. I think it was Mad Dog, and asked Mad Dog what his favourite game was playing for West Ham, and he said it was against Wimbledon. And it involved a 22-man punch-up. Basically, that's why he liked it. And then it all settled down, and then the ball went to Dennis Wise, and Julian went right through him, 6 foot up in the air, got sent off straight away.
So Julian got sent off.
Yeah, surprise! Julian got sent off. Bless him. God bless him. Yeah. Right, let's talk about your 11. So as I said, everyone we get on the channel, Alan, basically puts 11 together. It's just a bit of fun. Based on, as you said, over 230 appearances. You play some great players. So it'd be interesting to see, and it's not about the best. It's maybe the people you enjoy playing with the best, because there's certain people who might be better, but you don't enjoy playing with them. It doesn't really matter. Right, we'll start off easy. Let's start off in goal.
Well, there was only one goalie, really.
That's what I mean.
He was a very good goalie, though. So
he was.
Parksy was the goalkeeper. Parksy was I'm sure lots of players have been on there and said what a great goalkeeper he was, and he was. Great bloke as well.
Yeah.
But he was huge. He was a huge man. He took up most of the goal, but his reactions were and he used to train hard, Parksy. And all I can think of is that we would do shooting and crossing on a Thursday morning. A lot of shooting and crossing, that kind of exercises, and Parksy would be in goal. And if he took it seriously, you would not score. and the lads, he'd be making world-class saves. But no, what a wonderful keeper. The only thing with Parksy now, if you played out from the back, like these goalkeepers have to do,
yeah,
Parksy would have to improve his passing. A wonderful goalkeeper. There was only one other goalkeeper I'd like to mention, if that's okay.
Of course.
It was from our youth team days. We had a goalkeeper called Johnny Vaughan. I don't know if you can remember Vaughan.
No,
Vaughan was always in the shadow of Parksy. But Johnny Vaughan, when he played maybe 200, 300, 400 league games, but he was about 5'11", Johnny Vaughan, but a good West Ham keeper. He would have played in the reserves at West Ham as well. But if you're never going to get in front of Parksy. So John had to move on, but he was fantastic for the youth team, John.
Fantastic player.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, but I think anyone who comes in is gonna, he's gonna have that same issue. We had just after your time, but we had Tom McAllister.
Tom. I played with Tom. With Tom, and he came in occasionally for Parksy.
Yeah, just
whenever Parksy was fit, he was always going to play.
Yeah. We've interviewed quite a few reserve team goalkeepers along the year. We've interviewed Ian Foyer, who was basically Ludo's number 2. Steve Motone, the Australian guy who was around he was like, again, it was like, and it's interesting, someone like Ian Foyer obviously comes over from America in the same way he did with Tom McAllister and Vaughan as well. It's difficult knowing. I said, did you, you want, you got the goalkeepers union and you want to basically, you want to do well, but you want to be playing, don't you, as well? Yeah. So he goes, it's a real tough thing. He's going to be, Phil's going to be in goal, but you just got to be ready for when he gets injured, basically.
I think even back then, though, like these days, the number 2 will get maybe the Caribou Cup.
Great shout, yeah.
But those days, Parksy would play every game unless he got injured. So if you was a reserve keeper, you never played. Yeah. But at least the reserve keepers these days do. And like we used to have one sub, so that the goalkeeper couldn't even be on the bench.
No.
So at least the goalkeeper gets to go to the London Stadium and enjoys it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, then if he was a reserve keeper, he never used to get changed. So it was a little bit tougher for those lads.
Oh, bless him. Bless him. Yeah. Right. Okay, we'll put Phil in. Right. Okay. Let's try and pick another easy one. Right. Okay. Let's go right back.
I think the right back is pretty straightforward as well.
Yeah.
We've mentioned him earlier, Ray Stewart. We'll have Ray on the pens as well. We'll put Ray on the pens.
You'll be happy.
No, he was a great player. Ray was a Scotland international, good, honest, professional player. A different type of fullback to the way the lads are these days.
Yeah,
it's all about pace, up and down, and getting beyond, crossing it, and all that. Ray was a very steady. Would get forward occasionally, and get crosses in, but I would say I can't remember any wingers giving Ray a tough time. He always played a really nice game, and his passing was good. His short passing, he could ping the ball. He'd maybe be at right back and find Dev at left wing, or and good in the air as well. Ray, having been a centre back, he was good in the air. Where the game was maybe a little bit longer, he could tuck in and win his headers. But no, a very good footballer, Ray.
Yeah, top man.
Back. Yeah, very good in the changing room as well.
Funny lad. When you can understand him, of course.
There was that problem.
People did around those times, so to speak. You didn't have the French, necessarily the French speaking, or you have the German or people from South America. You just had the Scottish guys you couldn't really understand. So right, okay, we'll put Tonkin Right. Okay. All right. Let's go centre halves because I remember we talking about here, and this is the one. So I think let's get them out of the way.
This is difficult for me. There's the three centre backs who I've really kind of played with at West Ham. You've got Billy Bonds, Alvin, and Galley.
Mm.
So they're the three for me, and that is really difficult for me. Well, Billy has to play. He has to play. Although I was chatting with a couple of older fans, and they said how well Bill did in midfield.
Yeah,
maybe in the late 70s, he came to West Ham, and they were saying what a marauding, up and down, and a really good player in midfield for West Ham.
Yeah,
which I can't remember, those times.
No,
but when I was at West Ham, he was mainly a centre back alongside Alvin.
Yeah.
So between the three, it is difficult to choose. Alvin, England international, great in the air, read the game well. It's difficult. And Galley, he was a good footballer, Galley. And Galley, I think, maybe could go and play in midfield, Galley. He could clip balls around. He had good pictures, could see things. Another one who read the game really well. So it is difficult. I would. Have I got to choose two?
Or what you could do depends. Have you picked a left? Have you got a left back in your head? Who you're going to pick?
I have, yeah.
Okay, because I said what you could have done. You could have
be a strong person here and choose one.
Yeah.
Not offend, but they would maybe come on at half time.
Nice. Yeah.
If they say that. But I'm going to have to go with Alvin. I'll go with
Alvin and Billy and
great player Alvin, and I think he would just shade it a little bit.
Yeah, and then Reg can come on later on. Reg can come on. That'd be all right. Just keep him in the dressing. He has to be in the dressing room just to take the piss.
Alvin was great. But Alvin used to fancy himself as a little bit of a centre forward as well, especially on a Friday morning in the gym. He would put himself up front and all that. But a great player, Alvin. Determined. I chat with Alvin occasionally. Since we've stopped playing. Very determined and knew exactly what he wanted to do, and fantastic footballer, Alvin.
Yeah, definitely.
He was a little bit unlucky in that. Was at the World Cup when he play in the last 16, and then Terry Fenwick kind of went in front of him, didn't he? Against, was it the Maradona goal?
Yeah.
Maybe Alvin should have played that day.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
would have been a different story, wouldn't it? Could you imagine? Different story.
Good player, fantastic.
I think that's like seems to be all West Ham players. There seemed to be that sort of like sliding doors moment. I mean, Billy never playing for West Ham, Parksy never playing for England during his West Ham days. You got to think the three. Obviously, Alvin got although he got Zico. Oh, they did get Zico's shirt, didn't they? He got Zico's shirt.
Alvin? Well, that's great.
Yeah, you were there. You was having a beer in the green room. He told this story about Zico's shirt, and he brought it out. He still had it on him. So yeah, I reckon it's a replica though. Because he had a name on the back. I don't think you had names on the back with the internationals. But
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, Alf. All right. Who's going to be your left back then?
Kind of maybe three lads. When I first got in the team, the left back was Frank Lampard Senior.
Yeah,
a real football legend at West Ham. Frank used to work really, really hard in training. For someone who'd done so much, he was one of the players that would stay behind and work on lots of stuff. And technically, you don't really associate Frank, with technical, but he was as good as anyone with his 1 and 2 touch in the gym and his volleying, and he was different class, Frank. The other left back was Julian Dix. He kind of came, I think he did come about 87, Julian, something like that. So he come from Birmingham, and Julian was no nonsense. You wouldn't mess around with Julian. His left foot was something special. I think at the time, we wasn't doing very well. So maybe the best of Julian wasn't until I think when he came back, he kind of went away and come back, and then he had lots of success at West Ham. So I wasn't there for that. But I'm going to go with George Paris as my left.
Nice.
Yeah, George. Yeah, me and George, we've been together since we was about the age of 11, playing against each other. He was at Redbridge, I was at Newham. So we've always been kind of enemies and that, but good friends. George used to be an attacking midfield player. He used to score a lot of goals, George, in his under 15 England schoolboy days.
Yeah.
He was very good, George, going forward. But he always did a good job. Left back, right back. He would sit in front of midfield and he would give 110%, George. And I don't think, he's right back, right-footed playing at left back, which is difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's really, really good players. And like no nonsense, George. Even if they went past him, they would end up in the crowd. But no, he could play good football, George. Got forward, very honest. I'd have George all day long.
Yeah, good shout. And again, versatile as well, isn't it? I remember watching him playing centre midfield quite a bit as well. Anywhere that he needed it, but you knew he would give 100%.
Yeah, he would always do his best, George.
And that's what we want.
He could pass the ball, scored the odd goal. It was one to have, George.
Yeah. Okay. Right, here we go. Back four goalkeeper sorted. Right, okay. Let's try and make it a little bit easy. Let's go. The left wing, left midfield.
Yeah, left side. It's pretty straightforward for me.
Yeah.
Because I played with Alan Devonshire all the way through my 7 years, and I think Dev, was different class. Dev, you would. I remember chatting with Steve Walford at that night against Romford, and Wally said his best times at West Ham was when he had Dev in front of him, because all he had to do was give the ball to Dev, and like Dev would do his stuff, and then when Wally was in a bit of trouble, Dev would be there again, And he said when Dev wasn't fit, and Wally, if things maybe Wally's game deteriorated a little bit. But you could give the ball to Dev, and he wasn't like step overs or no tricks or anything like that. Just quick running with the ball. It get it close to people, get a little toe, little 1-2s. No, he was outstanding. He was, and he had that really bad injury, and maybe a little bit of pace had gone from Dev. His knee was quite bad, but he changed his game. So he had maybe more of a passing game. And his passing was very, very good, Dev. 1 and 2 touch. And then when he did get down the side on his left foot, I used to think his crossing with his left foot was very good. For a right-sided player, he could come inside, go outside. I don't think you ever knew where Dev was going to go.
No.
Outside, inside, or he could roll it into your striker, get it back, or no, he was outstanding, Dev.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to think anyone else on the left-hand side, but we did have Liam Brady.
Yeah,
didn't we? We had Liam Brady towards the end.
Yeah,
but Liam had a wonderful left foot, absolutely wonderful left foot. But Dev, as a West Ham player, it's got to be Dev.
And nowadays, I think obviously, as you said, Dev got injured, he reinvented himself as a player. Nowadays, it's so one-dimensional. I think football sometimes that we know Antonio's hamstrings are shot. He's not going to come back as a cultured number 10, is he? He knows one way. And I remember Michael Owen was the same. He just and where Dev had to reinvent himself, and he knew he had to reinvent his game, which just shows you what a class man he was.
He was. I remember. I think one of his comeback games was against Wimbledon in an FA Cup game. It was a one-all game at Wimbledon. And Dev had come back from his injury, and he was absolutely outstanding. Dev,
amazing.
I remember thinking, wow, how have you played like that? You've had such a bad injury, and you've come, and it wasn't through running with the ball. It was like his passing was fantastic. Dev,
phenomenal.
Yeah,
amazing man. Yeah. Lovely man. Right, okay, so that's left wing. Okay, let's go right wing then.
Yeah, there's a few lads. There was when I first got in West Ham's team, it was Francois van der Elst.
Yes.
So Francois played out on the right, and he had fantastic ability. Francois, he like Belgium, absolutely huge superstar. Really, I would say in world football. Francois, didn't he score twice against West Ham in the 75?
Yeah.
Scored twice. So I think John remembered him from that game and managed to get him into West Ham. But he maybe his better days were another time, but he did have his moments where he was an outstanding footballer, Francois. And it's out of two other players, which is difficult. Another difficult one for me to choose. It's Paul Allen,
Yeah,
and Wardy.
Yeah.
So I was brought up with Paul Allen. Cup final, youth cup final. Good footballer, Paul, and he had a fantastic season. I don't know if you remember this, 84, 85 before he got his move to Spurs. Paul
sure.
Allen. And he played out on the right, and he got this pace from somewhere. Well, I don't know where he got this pace from, but he had an outstanding season on the right-hand side, whether it was right back or right side midfield. And he won the Hammer of the Year that year, Paul Allen. And he was at, but we were a struggling team, but he was like the shining light that year. And coming up through the youth team, I'm a little bit of a soft touch for all that kind of stuff. So he was outstanding. And then Waldy, he came 85, 86, and turned West Ham's, turned us around as a football club.
Yeah.
Wardy, he sometimes went on the outside, got his crosses in, but I think one of his greatest assets, he'd get it out his feet, and his range of passing as well, Wardy. There was times I would make a run through midfield and he would pick you out. He's very aggressive, defensively as well. He'd work his socks off and help the fullback. So that's a difficult one for me out of those two. Well, I'm going to give them half each. At the centre backs, but I'm going to.
Oh, where's he gone? Oh, Alan, where you gone? Where you gone? Where you gone? Where you gone? Is it you? Is it me? Let me check.
You're okay. You're okay.
You're back. You're back. You're back.
Yeah. I didn't touch.
It's the internet. It's the trouble in it. The internet. God bless it. Right. So, who are you going to pick, Alan or Wald?
I'm going to go with Waldy, just slightly.
Waldy.
But Paul Allen, maybe come on at half time for Waldy.
Well, we can give it like a proper bench, not just once, because you're gonna have Reg on the bench as well. So Reg and Paul Allen on the bench.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Right. Okay. Centre of midfield then, and you can pick yourself, Al.
No, definitely not. There was there's only one Trevor Brooking, so he has to be. He would fit whoever played with Trevor would definitely put him in their team. He was, I would say, just head and shoulders above absolutely everybody.
Really?
It was like a real joy, even in like keep balls in training, 7-a-sides, he'd let the ball run, he'd just curl it in the corners. As I said, on Thursdays when it was more of a technical day, you do your crossing, and like I think whatever side Trevor was on, left or right, I can't remember him putting a cross behind the goal. It was, and he was so graceful. He was because Glenn Hoddle was one of my favourites, and I used to go and watch West Ham v Spurs, to see which one would be the better player. And every time I went to Upton Park, Trevor was always the better player. Maybe at White Hart Lane, maybe Glenn was. I don't know, but it is a little bit like that. But no, he was a real bit of a genius, really. Even when he played for England, wasn't he? His goals against Hungary when he put it in the stanchion, and his stuff with Keegan. He made the game look really, really easy, Trevor.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. So Trevor's in. Okay. Who's he going to partner then in that centre midfield then?
I think I'm going to go with Pikey.
Nice.
Pike.
I was going to say Pikey. Yeah.
I was. So I kind of grew up with Pikey. He did he play in my first game? He would have been. I can't remember whether Pikey played, but Pikey was the one that maybe didn't get all the headlines like Trevor and Deb, but he was the one that kind of maybe held the team together, and Pikey scored lots of goals. I've seen footage from the late 70s. He got in the box as well as sat there and defended. He worked his socks off every game. gave everything he had. And technically, I always go back to the keep balls, and in training, Pikey was fantastic at that. His passing was, just as good as anybody's, Pikey. And he filled all the gaps when Trevor went, Dev went. He kind of sat in there and kept it nice and simple. You need players like that in your team. But Pikey did his fair share going the other way as well. So, no, I really enjoyed Pikey, enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah. No, good shout. Yeah, lovely. But I mean, but to be honest, I say he's a lovely guy. But I've said to everyone you've mentioned is lovely.
Yeah, we had, you go to West Ham, and all the lads, you do get the odd one, but most of the lads were good people. The changing rooms were always kind of nice changing rooms. Everyone was respectful to everybody. I thought, there's not many. You'd come home and it wasn't a good day. I think everyone tried to make the days as good as possible for everyone.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But it's it was. I think it's like that, and I can't remember. I think it was someone mentioned. It's like it wasn't like it was banter. It was good banter, and you had to give as good as you got, and the elder statesman of the dressing room expected to the young whippersnapper. They wanted to give it back. They wanted a bit of banter, and
To be fair, I think when we were growing up, though, we had to show a lot of respect to the players.
Yeah.
I don't think we were allowed. Maybe the lads these days can be a little bit more jovial with the first team, but we used to have to go and knock on the door, the first team door, and like go and pick up all their stuff, all their kit and that kind of thing. Like you're picking up Trevor, Brooking, Billy Bonds' kit and all that. You had to be, but they were nice people. They didn't look down at you because you was picking up their kit. But that was all part of it. And there's no way I would joke with those lads. I used to stand on the terrace and watch those lads play. So I was always very, very respectful to those people.
Yeah, I think there's that whole sort of, and again, I think that's different now. It's like obviously we spoke to a lot of youth team players around sort of the 90s and the 2000s, and obviously they were still cleaning players' boots and stuff like that.
That is a good thing. And that's a shame that the lads don't do that, really. I remember, we'd all have different jobs. I think one of my jobs, I remember cleaning like all the footballs after training. So I'd be in the shower on my own. I'd have maybe 50 footballs just standing there, like washing all the footballs in the shower. I do think that it's a shame the lads don't do that.
Yeah,
that's not in any job. In any job, it's good to start at the bottom and do your apprenticeship. And then I think you kind of appreciate that when you do get a bit older.
Definitely. I totally agree.
What you've got, but I think things have changed and moved on, I suppose. And
unfortunately, I think they have, unfortunately. Right, okay. So that's the midfield four. Up front, who's your first one?
Yeah, I think it's out of three lads. I think my team, as you'll find, is like the FA Cup team from 1980 and the 85-86 team.
Hybrid, I like it.
I think the three lads, it's like Tony COYI, Frank McAvenny, and Paul Goddard.
Yeah.
Paul Goddard, Paul was in the side when I first got in the team. Like outstanding player. We paid a lot of money for him from QPR, came with Parksy. Very good forward, scored very good goals, kind of held the ball up well for such a short guy. And let the ball run down the sides. At one stage, did he get an England cap? I think he got his England cap.
Yeah, Sarge did, definitely.
At one stage, he was doing very well for West Ham. Paul Goddard, Tony COYI. Brought up with Tony, known him since the age of 11. Same as George, always in the same teams. Tony would just score goals for fun. Absolutely unbelievable. Even from that age, we might get beat 2-1, Tony scored. We'll win 4-0, Tony got 3. He was phenomenal. Yeah. I don't know how he does it, where he pops up from, but he would always score, Tony. He wasn't the greatest footballer in it, and he'll admit that himself. And as he got older, he became more of a better team player. Tony's main asset that he says he just wanted to score goals. That was his, which is a great thing. You know, all the goal scorers have that. But I remember playing in a county game with Tony. We won 7. He got 6. You know, he was phenomenal. And pace, had great pace, and he could strike a ball unbelievable. You know, if he got it on target, it would no doubt fly in the net with Tony.
Sure.
And when you think about when he was 17, 18, 19 and 20, I think he averaged maybe 15, 20 goals a year playing in the top flight. You know, a young kid doing that these days would be worth 50, 60 million pounds.
Yeah, at least.
You know, he was a top player, Tony. His goal scoring was second to none. And then there's Frank, absolutely wonderful Frank, great goal scorer. Worked his socks off, great team player. You know, maybe that's why him and Tony got on so well. They kind of, the combination between the two really worked. And I think even Frank working so hard made Tony do that little bit extra as well. You know, Frank can do it. Maybe I can do it. You know, and it kind of rubbed off on Tony. But I do think, I'm going to have to go with Tony and Frank as my front two.
Yeah, and Sarge can be on the bench. It's okay.
Yeah, no, they were phenomenal, the two of them. Outstanding pairing. They got on well together off the pitch as well, which is always a good thing. They'd give a little bit of banter to each other, which was quite healthy. But I think those two were outstanding.
And more importantly, Alan, did you ever go out on a night with Frank? Come on.
I think I only went out once. I think that was one of the questions asked that night. And I think I think Wardy spent a lot of time out with Frank.
Yeah.
I think I only went out once or twice with him. And I remember going to Charlie Chan's with Frank one night.
Charlie Chan's.
I didn't really see a lot of him. I think he was all over the place, Frank. To be honest.
It's one of those things, wasn't it? And it was one of those weird things because obviously that season was so successful, but that season we didn't have as much TV coverage, and so I saw someone put something on YouTube. You know, I think it was it might have been Match the Day or something like that, and they said it was Frank at Tower Bridge, and they asked people if they knew who he was.
Yeah,
and he was like, "No, he's the top goal scorer in the league." You know.
I think he got 26 goals that year, didn't he?
Crazy, wasn't it?
Scored.
Yeah.
Can I mention a couple of the other lads? You know,
of course you can.
Like we had, I think it was just broke into the team towards the end. I was at West Ham. Was Points.
Yeah.
You know, he just took off when we went to Man United. Did fantastic at West Ham for that season. But, he wasn't around as much when I was there. And also we had some really, really classy young players coming through at the time, like Potsy, Kevin Keane, Stuart Slater. You know, West Ham was always producing really, really good talent. And those three were the next ones coming through. I think just after me, Tony and Jules, they were the next four we didn't see. The next on the conveyor belt coming through the West Ham Academy.
Yeah.
You know, there's always
been this sort of procession until sort of maybe sort of the mid 2010s. There was always like a couple of players coming through, and obviously we had we had the golden generation, so to speak, of Rio and Frank and that lot as well. And so that's always been the basis of West Ham, isn't it? Having those sort of the production line of the academy. And there's a team, Alan. Not a bad team.
Not a bad team, yeah. Happy with that team.
I'll tell you what I found as well.
I'll go and watch them play.
I found the programme, just found it, that was your debut. And Neil Orr was playing.
Pardon?
Neil Orr was playing. So there we go. Yeah.
He didn't play. God, I've missed out some players there.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Everyone does.
You mentioned Neil Orr. Neil had a great season, 85, 86.
We've mentioned Brushy anyway. We've mentioned Brushy. It's all right. No, we've mentioned Vandals. Goddard.
When did I score? I scored early doors, I think, didn't I?
Yeah, it doesn't say when you scored, but it was early doors.
Who made his debut that day was Justin Fashion.
Really?
Yeah, I think did they pay £1 million for him?
I'm sure someone will say that.
His debut that day. Yeah. And I don't know Notts County signed him from, but I'm sure he made his debut for Notts County that day, just in fashion.
There we go. Fantastic. Alan, it's been an absolute privilege talking to you.
Thanks for asking me on. You know,
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
And hopefully you enjoyed it as well.
Wish West Ham all the best for the year. I'm sure
exactly
we're going to have a great season.
Exactly, and we'll see. I'll see you around the block, so to speak.
We'll catch up. Look out for you.
So
if
for
myself, if you come into London, look out for me.
Yeah, exactly. How you? Yeah, I'm not. I'm to be honest, I'm not an Uber fan anyway, so it's always black cabs for me. Always black cabs for me. Always hail them. But for myself and from Alan, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Come on, you irons. That's it.